Well, in a country where businesses struggle to survive beyond a few years, long-term vision, integrity have become rare currencies. Well, today we turn our attention to a man whose journey has cut across enterprise, faith, mentorship, and the likes. And I'm talking about engineer Charles Aladewolu, a seasoned engineer and entrepreneur, and also the founder and chairman of Telco Group of Companies. I am Moses Ojewumi, the anchor of today's program, and welcome to the show, engineer Charles Aladewolu.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, many thanks for joining us. Okay, very quickly, let's get to see his profile in full, and when we come back, the interview begins. Stay with us. Okay, many thanks for staying with us, and that was the profile of my guest today, engineer Charles Aladewolu. Yes, thanks for joining us once again. And I mean, what an intimidating as a profile, if I could put it that way. It has been an eventful career for you. You studied back the BSc degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Lagos, MBA from the University of Warwick, United Kingdom. Then you rose to become a manager at the UAC, founder, chairman, CEO, Telco Group. That's Total Engineering Concept in 1980. So let's sink our teeth into it. Looking back, any regrets?
Well, I thank God for what I have been able to achieve in the last many years that I started business. I was manager in UAC for about 4 years, and then project manager of Aladewolu for another 4 years. So by 1980, I started my own business. And business usually is about solving problems for people or meeting people's needs. I found problems that I thought I could use my profession to solve. And that was exactly what I did. And I'm happy that the company is over 45 years old now and is still doing very well.
Okay. But now, look, you founded Telco Group in 1980. What would you say will be that most painful business decision made?
Well, I think looking back now, I think I was right to have made that decision to opt out of paid employment and to start my own business. It was not easy. It wasn't because at the time I started the first year, it was very raw, but I was able to go through it to establish good relationship with Stock Amsterdam in the Netherlands. We worked together for many years, and then I was able to establish my own workshop in Nigeria for fabricating the kind of equipment that we used to import. Today, I'm happy to say that that workshop is the largest kind of that workshop in West Africa.
Okay, well, so much to say about that. So let's compare and contrast. I mean, looking at the young business leaders that we have now, if we were to compare them with how it was maybe when you were starting up, would you say the young business leaders now, are they tougher or weaker?
Well, it depends on the facilities that are available. But what I always say is that to start a business and you want to succeed in that business, you should do what I call IMF conditionalities. When I say IMF, I do not mean International Monetary Fund. I mean that you need to generate a business idea that is implementable that the products are marketable and the facilities are fundable. IMF. It must be implementable. It must be marketable as a product. You must find a market, people who are happy to buy it from you and exchange it for their own money. And then you must be able to fund the facilities that will make it possible for you to bring the products to the market. And you know, nowadays it's still difficult to get money from our banks in Nigeria. The interest rate is still very high, and that is causing challenges for young people who want to set up business. But I say it's still nice for them to make a start, and somewhere along the line, they will be able to sail through.
Now, looking at the business climate, is it harsher? Is it harsher now?
Well, I think now there are many more banks than when I started, so people have alternative sources of income. There are investors who are prepared to put in money, provided they can see you as a man of integrity, that you have a good business plan, that will ultimately be profitable. Then it's possible to access investment from both local and foreign investors. And that, it depends on you. You have to make sure that you can convince people that your business is profitable and that on the long term, you are solving problems for people, and there are people who are ready to be able to pay for your services. And so you can attract a lot of investment from which we didn't have in my days.
So, but I mean, how did you cope in your days where there were a few banks, like you said, a few investors also? How did you cope?
Yes, if I may say this, I had gone to my bank in those days, and the bank manager was asking for collateral before they can approve a loan for me. And the collateral must be a CFO of buildings in Ikoyi or Victoria Island, which I didn't have business there. And the interest rate then, the best they could do for me was 28%. But because I didn't have the collateral they required, so they turned down my request. So, well, I'm a prayerful person. My heart launched for contact with my business partner overseas. I went to Amsterdam and I told them what I'm facing in Nigeria, that I actually wanted to start local production of this equipment, and here is my business plan. And they said to me, yes, we have been working together for many years now. We see you as a man of integrity. We see that you have never failed in any of our agreements. We are ready to work with you. So they introduced me to a finance house in Amsterdam, their own finance house. I mean, the place where they get money to run their own business. And they were ready to stand guarantee or surety for me. And I got what I wanted at 5% interest rates instead of 28% in Nigeria. And that's how I got my first equipment shipped from Holland to Nigeria to start my local fabrication. And they gave me 5 years to pay back. And so within the 5 years, I was able to pay back. Of course, they took part of my shares as their own guarantee. They said they will have majority shares, and I agreed with them. So they took 51% shares, I took 49, because I prayed. I'm a man that consult the Holy Spirit for my business, and I said, whatever they ask you to do, do it. So I agree with them. But after the 5 years, and I paid off all the loan, they sold back their shares to me, so I became 100% owner again. And I'm happy that every year we kept part of what money we are making. We are not using the money to buy luxury or we're investing back into the business. And that's why I'm happy to say that today our facility is more or less the largest one in West Africa for the production of those kind of equipment that we were importing.
Well, obviously you're a man of faith, and at times people would say, when it comes to business, one should drop one's spirituality, because there are certain things people do in business. Have you ever had any need maybe to compromise ethics, or have you ever been moved so close? What was that event or that happening maybe that really shook you, that you nearly compromised your ethics or faith?
I must say that I do not separate my business from my spiritual belief. I get led by what I believe is right. And there are times when I lost contract because I wouldn't play ball, I don't mind. And then the right one will come at the appropriate time. So I prefer to keep to my word, and that people can trust me. So I have customers that I've been dealing with them for over 20 years because they know that I will not disappoint them. One, my yes, my yes, my no is my no. And I wouldn't say because I wanted to make quick money. No, I should have rest of mind in my business. That is why at 80 years old now, I'm still feel very all right. I have no burden in my heart. I do business the right way, and that is it.
But what you say to those who believe, well, business is business, faith is faith, that when it comes to business,
that's what I don't believe. Faith and business should go together. I mean, if you say this is your faith, this is what you believe, and people see you outside doing something different in your business, then they won't take you seriously. But if what you preach is what you practice, then things will work out well for you. Like people come to me and I tell them, you apply the 7 P's of business success, and your business will be successful. The 7 P's of business says proper planning, prayerful preparation, produce profitable performance. 7 P's of business success. And so you plan properly, you pray about it, and you make progress. You take action as an honest man, so that.
So you said proper planning, prayerful preparation, produce
profitable performance.
Oh, produce profitable, performance. Okay, now let's talk about the engineering sector, and looking at where we are, currently. The major construction works going in the country, you see expatriates, the Chinese, the Lebanese coming here to do many of this. And I'm wondering, how come Nigeria has really struggled to translate engineering talent into industrial power?
Well, it depends on the kind of treatment that the local authorities give to our people. Unfortunately, many times they treat the expatriates better than they treat Nigerians. And then when Nigerians go overseas, they perform very well there. I know many Nigerians that are doing excellently well in Europe, in the United States, and they're living very well. That's why many of them don't think of coming back to Nigeria. So I believe strongly that we have very intelligent Nigerians, particularly engineers, even medical doctors, who are doing extremely very well overseas. Not everybody is thinking like I'm thinking. What I think is that we need Nigerians to develop Nigeria. And then after I graduated from Warwick University, my master's, I had offers to remain in UK, but I decided to come back home. And I'm happy that today we have facilities that will employ many Nigerian engineers. In the beginning, I also brought in about 3 expatriates to train Nigerian engineers in the kind of processes and equipment that we wanted to embark upon. And after I was sure that Nigerian engineers were very capable of doing it, I released the expatriates. And today we're 100% Nigerian engineers. And our equipment and capability can compare very well with anyone from anywhere in Europe.
So are you saying there's no limit to what you can do in construction, or which aspects of construction do your men do?
Well, my company is now Teco Group of company, but the major, where we started, was that I looked at the GDP of Nigeria in those days and found that there were 3 products or 3 operations that contributed majorly to the GDP of Nigeria. It was the groundnut in the north. You wouldn't know about groundnut pyramid.
Yeah, groundnut pyramid, yes.
You've heard about it. There's cocoa in the southwest, and palm oil in the east.
In the east, yes.
And some palm oil also in the southwest. Okay, and when I was young, I could see how farmers were struggling manually to extract oil from palm fruit. They were doing it manually. I used to help my grandmother to do it too. And I used to have scares on my palms, and I knew how strenuous it was. In the university, when I was studying mechanical engineering, I was always thinking, is there no way of mechanizing this production process? When I graduated, I sat down, made some design, read books, doing the analysis, and you know, to see how what kind of equipment we can use to replace manual production.
Okay.
And then I started looking around Nigeria if there's anybody who was manufacturing this equipment. Not one workshop in Nigeria. Even the few people that were using mechanization for processing were importing them. So I tried to put my satellite on Europe. In France, I saw a company that was making equipment for palm oil extraction in France. I saw another one in Belgium, and the third one in the Netherlands. Prayerfully, I chose the one in the Netherlands, and I wrote to them, and they accepted my company as their partner for Nigeria. You know, so that was how we started to grow. And we have to learn from what was already existing.
Okay.
You know, the beauty is that God made it such a way that the oil palm grows only in Africa and Asia. It doesn't grow in Europe.
To date?
It doesn't, up to today, it doesn't grow in Europe, it doesn't grow in America. So that is a product we can export.
But these days of GMO, would they engineer?
They don't. They are importing it from wherever it is available. The only reason why they are importing is not that just to eat it, is that Malaysians have found out that there are 42 products you can make out of palm oil and palm kernel. 42. So it's raw material to a number of industries.
And today, Malaysia produces far more.
Yes, there was a time, at the time we started mechanization, Nigeria was the leading producer of palm oil. We were producing 46% of total world output as at that time. And why? Because NIFO, the Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, near NIFO, and near Benin, I think we've heard about them before. They were the first research institute to come up with a new species of oil palm. The one that grows naturally in the bush has only 9% oil content. 9. The one that NIFO did has 22% oil content. So everybody was coming to Nigeria to buy the new species of oil palm.
Okay. Now, looking back, because we are talking about those days where economy was largely based on agriculture, and to date we look at the cocoa house in Ibadan and we feel, wow, so a lot of development then oil boom came. So will you regard the oil, is it a blessing or otherwise?
Well, I think the problem is that the money we made from oil and gas should have been invested in agriculture, because in Nigeria we have land, arable land, all right? But I think many people just closed down their plantations and started, oil and gas, as if. But now they are going back to agriculture because that is people need to eat now and to use resources from agriculture to improve their standard of living.
So, if Nigeria had not discovered oil, would we be better off?
Well, I would say because the palm oil thing and agriculture is good for the people and the economy. If we had invested in processing what we produce in agriculture in the farms instead of exporting raw materials, Nigeria would have been great. But God also gave us the oil and gas. It should have been the two of them going side by side, adding together to make Nigeria a greater country instead of abandoning one for the other.
Yeah. Well, today we are still, hoping, we are still talking about mechanized, farming. Go to Benue, the food basket of the nation is called, and other states, you see these old men are still farming, manually. And because from what I can decipher, understand from what you said is you do more of agricultural, engineering in a way, those things that could make things so simple. So when you look at this, that even this century, compared to other countries, compared to Western world, where they've gone far when it comes to mechanized farming, Have you been talking to governments about maybe how they can go about this? Because that's what your company does.
Yes. You know, mechanization is the answer. All this manual thing is, take for example, the palm oil sector that I was talking about. When you do extraction manually, you get 44% of the oil out of the fruit. But when you use our machines, you get 92% oil. So from the same size of plantation, you get more than double the quantity of oil you can get out of the fruits, which means you get more money. The farmers get more money, and the quality also is also much better. When you do it manually, you see they ferment the fruits for days and weeks before you can remove the fruit from the bunch. But when you mechanize it, you just harvest fresh and you process it fresh. And within 24 hours, it has become oil.
So the palm oil farmers, which one do they do more this time around? Have they gone through the way of mechanization in producing the palm oil, or they are still doing the manual way?
Thank you very much. In the beginning, the federal government came to their aid. The first set of equipments that were imported to Nigeria were paid for by the federal government and given free of charge to the farmers, small-scale farmers all over. So that was when the production of palm oil was skyrocketed, and they have, and Nigeria became maybe the highest producer of palm oil. And that was because government assisted them to have this equipment. But now nobody is helping anymore. I have talked to a number of people about the way they do it in Malaysia. Malaysia, like you said, is now the highest producer, Malaysia, Indonesia. And what are they doing? They will allocate, say, 500 acres of land to a farmer, and they will give him the seedlings to plant. And when he has planted and it starts fruiting, let me also add that the palm that grows in the bush starts fruiting after 8 years. The one that our NIFO in Nigeria developed starts fruiting after 3-4 years. So if you want to invest in oil palm plantation, and you cannot receive money until after 8 years, you cannot even get.
That's too long.
But this new one, can you imagine Malaysians are importing them from NIFO here? And I thought government should do it the way they are doing it in Malaysia. Allocate land to these farmers. Let them and allocate to them seedlings that they should plant, the right type of seedlings. And then establish palm oil mills in each local government. Don't allow these farmers to be the one, they are not educated now. They don't even know how to operate the equipment properly. What they have done in Malaysia is that they established one fairly big palm oil mill in each local government. All the farmers will bring their bunches to that place.
So why is it so hard for us also to achieve that in Nigeria?
That's what I mean. You know how politics is in Nigeria. People are not taking it seriously. I think now people are just putting a lot of effort in oil and gas, and they are not looking at these people. You know, I have discussed with them, but I don't see any of these local governments or state government investing.
But have you been collaborating maybe with the federal government, with state governments? Have you been having the audience maybe of the Minister of Agriculture? Because it seems you have a solution to some of the agricultural problems that we have in Nigeria. Are you really trying to reach out that there's a lot we can do this, we can do that? Or are you just keeping all this to yourself?
Well, I don't want to say yes that I have gone to this or that, but what I know is that we try to do seminars and we invite officials so that they can listen to, like I'm talking to you now. I cannot force them, but when they are back, they should be able to make use of these suggestions. Some of them have visited Malaysia, they have seen what is happening there, but coming back home, I have not seen them putting it into practice. As little I can do, I can't force them.
Have you also tried maybe to lobby? You know how it's done in Nigeria.
So
you have to lobby.
Yeah, I do more with private investors. 80% of my customers are private investors. These are people who have their own money. They are investing, say, into the oil palm business, and we go there to build the mills for them and train their engineers so that they are producing. So if we look at those that are really making it in Nigeria, and I feel that they are private investors. And I'm happy dealing with them than going to be sitting in the office of a government.
But have we really seen much investment in palm oil production? Because you see, people would rather go buy from the local sellers that produce locally than maybe the branded ones in supermarkets. People feel palm oil is local, and the branded ones are so expensive. So I've really seen, because I believe if we've seen much investment, has come into it, then those ones in supermarket should be almost same price with the ones we see in local markets.
People are not complaining. Those who love to have palm oil, you see the local people, if they are producing palm oil in their villages, all right, of course they buy from there. But those who are really producing and bringing to Lagos, to other cities, they have to make sure that it's properly packaged in such a way that they can convince their customers that it's a good product. So the market is segmented. Those who will buy fairly expensive, what they will buy. The most educated people in the cities, they go for that. It may be a little bit more expensive than the local one. But the local one, once you look at it in the bottle, you can see whether that is what you want or not. What is also happening now is that people are building refineries to refine crude palm oil into refined products. That will again be more expensive, but there are people who prefer that to the crude type of palm oil.
So you're saying the mechanized refined ones are quite better, because some of us, we are used to cooking with those ones that were made locally or manually.
Yes. When you look at it in the bottom, you even know. It settle down, thick one at the bottom, slight light one at top of it. You even smell it. It will look different. So they know what they are doing. Those who are buying, they know what to buy. But I can tell you that gradually more people are doing the mechanized type. Almost every year, not even almost, every time we are building more factories to produce mechanized type of palm oil. And I think more and more, less people will be doing it manually. Especially the old people now are fading out. And no young man wants to go and be pounding fruit. Nature will take care of that as time goes on.
So, given what's obtainable in Malaysia, which we've agreed here that, if that could be replicated in Nigeria, they are gains. And federal government has always been talking about, mechanized farming, diversifying our economy through agriculture. Is federal government paying lip service to all of this?
Well, I think everything that goes on with agriculture, if you mechanize it, you are always better off. Even building, you travel out now, you will see cows in well-organized fields where and then they can keep them in the ranches, not going in the bush and all over the place eating farmers' crops, something like that. So the more it is managed properly, in a modern way, the better. And after some time, if young people are well educated, you wouldn't find people running after cows in the bush. That's why I always give preference to education.
But for the herdsmen, it seems to be cultural, and every move to maybe segment them to a portion has failed over time. I could recall that the Buhari government tried the Ruga intervention. That didn't work. And to them, they believe they are nomads and they are not meant to stay in one place. So how can this problem, I mean, I'm looking at it from the angle of the farmers, elders, clashes now. So how can this be solved? If the elders are saying, you know what, we don't like staying in one place, we definitely want to move around with our cows. And when they do move around, well, their children are not educated. I know some people would say, okay, maybe government should build schools in forests for them.
No. Why do we have government? Government is to lead people in the right way, not to say this is what I want to do, and it's not in the benefit of the country, it's not in the benefit of other people in the environment. You say no, that is wrong. I'm sure that those who say the thing must go, they are not educated. If they were educated, they wouldn't do it that way. All right? So my point is that government must make their stand well known, educate those people and their children, so that nobody wants to be going in the bush and sleeping in the forest in the night with cows. I mean, it's not right. So important thing is that government will convince itself that it's the right thing to do. The unfortunate thing in Nigeria is that many times tribalism or political, cultural or something will influence the decision of government, which is unfortunate. We should be able to have government who say, okay, for my people, this is the right thing to do. And forget about all this running about the whole place. We will send your children to school. When I attended primary school in those days, during the period of Aladewolu, they made education free for primary level. You know, so almost everybody of my age went to school. It was even compulsory at a point. You had to go to school. If they didn't make it free, and if my parents were not able to sponsor me, maybe I wouldn't be who I am today. You know, so it's important for government to invest in people's education. Let them be well educated, so that nobody will use them to be running after cows.
Well, I mean, your generation did enjoy a lot. At the good old days, the free education, though we still have it at the primary level in many states, in Nigeria. I mean, when you were in the university, it was government paid for your food, the tuition fee, and all of that. But it's kind of ironic that your generation, what you enjoyed, now you cannot, afford, or you cannot replicate that, for the younger generation.
Well, maybe the government at our time when I was young had more foresight of what they want the nation to become in the future. Primary school, it was free, and in fact, parents were encouraged to send their children to school. In the University of Lagos, I enjoyed, even in college. In college, I enjoyed Western government scholarship. So if you are brilliant, you are one of the first 10 in class, you are likely going to have scholarship. In the University of Lagos, I enjoyed federal government scholarship. So both college and university, I didn't have to pay school fees. So assuming my education was aborted because of lack of money to pay school fees, today, I will not be able to employ the people I'm employing. I will not be able to contribute to the economy of Nigeria, all right, as I'm doing now. Because now with what we are doing, people, instead of importing from everywhere, they look at our products. And we're as good as anyone they are bringing from anywhere in the world. So people save more money in shipment and all that, and they patronize us. And we're also there, if the equipment breaks down within 24 hours, engineers are there to help them to sort it out. In the past, you have to wait until the dispatchers get visa to come to that, and your plant is shut down for days and months. So it's a lot of advantage to be gained by encouraging local production.
Okay. Now, looking back, what's a policy failure do you think has done most damage to indigenous engineering firms or indigenous companies in general? Because I know that when you started about 45 years ago, in fact, many of those companies today are defunct. They are moribund. But I mean, you are still standing, over 45 years in business. So what policy do you think maybe did more harm than good for the indigenous companies?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that many people who were in business, who started business about the same time that I started, they were not looking at the future that is after them. Legacy should be part of the thing. Each time I'm running my own business, I'm looking at what will happen after I am gone. I don't want the business to die if I'm no more around. Because it's just natural that one day the founder will go to sleep. And therefore, you have to train the people that you think will take over from you. And I'm happy to say that even at my age now, I'm happy to see my children running in the last 8-10 years. Many of them have come back home from Europe, and they are assisting me. I know that if anything happens, they continue. They now embark on what they call transformation agenda. Transformation. So they are transforming the thing. Because in my day there was nothing like AI.
Nothing like social media.
All this, now that. But now they are more. In fact, some of them had a degree or master's degree in artificial intelligence and robotics, and they are putting all this into into the system. And many of them had worked in Europe for quite some time. They've gained experience. My encouragement to them is that bring that knowledge and experience to Nigeria instead of staying back over there. And that is helping.
But although we are in a time where many want to leave Nigeria, we call it brain drain. So why some would say, why not let them leave? They can come back in future, and it would lead to a brain gain. But when people say japa is we are leaving, we are not coming back. What's your take?
And it depends on the kind of philosophy and education you give to your children. If they just feel that over there they are very happy, everything is comfortable, they don't. I always ask for my children, there are some people who developed the economy in Europe. There are people who develop their own economy. Don't wait until you find somebody coming to develop our own economy in Nigeria. You are going to Europe to learn. When you have learned for so many years, you come back home and bring what you have learned to the advantage of the people. You know, and once you bring them up in that way, they will know that Europe is not a permanent place for them, and they will come back home. And I think that is working.
And then you've motivated, you know, I mean, a whole lot of people. You've mentored, you know, the younger generation, particularly when it comes to, you know, doing business. But what lie do you think the young entrepreneurs, you know, are being told?
Yeah, I must say that in 2007, I started a school which I call the School of Business Success. My idea is that I cannot be picking people to train them what to do, but if they come to that school, then it's easy for me to really explain to them what it is.
And was it free?
Well, to some extent, yes. I say to some extent because I do it both physically and online. When I do it online, it's free, you know. But when I do it physically, we give them lunch, and so they pay for the lunch. We arrange the lunch with a caterer. We don't prepare it ourselves. Okay. Basically, they pay for that and some, you know, the hall and things like that. I don't depend on them to make profit. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to be able to put in them ideas that will help them to succeed in their businesses. So that's what we do, and quite a large number of young men and women have attended that school, and we are still running it.
Okay. Oh, is the school still functioning?
Yes.
Till date?
Most of the time, now it's very easy to do it online, you know. They can join later in the evening and speak to them for 1 hour or 2. And when they have challenges, they bring the challenges to us. We make suggestions. We don't impose our idea. We make suggestions based on our own experience. And many of them will come back to thank us that is the right thing to do.
But unfortunately, I mean, many young entrepreneurs, you know, are, you know, frustrated. They complain about the harsh economic reality, how hard it is to fund, you know, their business. Though the motivational speakers will tell you, oh, don't worry, it's the idea, just run with the idea and all of that. And the question most young entrepreneurs ask is, where will I get this capital? Where will the capital, you know, come from? When you cannot approach the bank, the banks they ask for collateral, the land in Ikoyi, which, I mean, you are just starting up. Where will you find such? So this has been their cry, and I know many businesses that have collapsed because they didn't get the support, no support from the government, just like it's being done, you know, in the Western world.
Yeah, well, I don't want to mention it, but years ago I saw so many companies in Nigeria. Even my neighbor was British, and they were making tire soles and all that. They were making pumps and so many other things that were being made in Nigeria. But they couldn't transfer their money overseas because they brought the money from overseas to invest in Nigeria. There was a time when there was problem with foreign exchange, and that's why many of them closed down. There were also some Nigerian companies, Aladewolu, Tire Souls, and so many of them in those days, a long list of them that are no more in business in Nigeria now. But I think what is good is that young other people are establishing new companies. But they have to do it right so that the companies will be profitable.
Well, you authored a book, I think, Growing Wealth Without Sweat. So, but in a harsh economic climate like that of Nigeria, is this message realistic or just aspirational?
No, it's, if you read the book, you see that I give testimonies of people who have been successful in business.
Without breaking sweat.
Working hard is different from putting yourself under stress. You can work hard now, but it doesn't mean you will be sweating. Growing wealth without sweat. If you are sweating, you are not, either you are not using this properly, or you are not having advisors or people who show you how to do the business. That it may even be that it's not the kind of business that is meant for your type of person. You know, like I said before, business is about solving problems for people. It's not to create problems for yourself. Yeah, but everybody has a gift. I have my own gift, my own talent, which I can put into use for people. But if you are in the wrong kind of field, it's going to be difficult for you to succeed. For example, my lecturer in those days in college, they were advising me to be a medical doctor because I was good in biology and chemistry. But I know within me that I'm not gifted to be a doctor. When I see somebody that is sick, I will be crying for him. I can't be a doctor. But as an engineer, that's why at 80 I'm still working. Not full time, but I'm still okay. So, because I enjoy what I'm doing. So you have to enjoy what you are doing. And don't just set up business because you want to make money. That is why many businesses fail. They're just thinking of the money aspect. You must think more of the satisfaction that you get and the skill that nature God has given into you, which you are using to impact other people to success.
I mean, what about those that would say, take Dangote for instance, in producing cement, producing sugar, it's not because he likes, sugar or he likes cement. So it's all about the profits, for him.
No, you see, leadership is important in all these things. The person who is like for example, when I first thought about mechanizing palm oil, I said to myself, palm oil? Why should it be me? But later I got to know that God has trained me right from step by step to become a mechanical engineer and to specialize in that, in this process. And that is why I started that, But it's not, I didn't start to say that because I want to be a big man, I want to build a house, I want to, that will come, that will be on the side of it. But the most important thing is that what you do that gives you pleasure, that gives you happiness, that gives you fulfillment, that you are doing what God created you to do. And that is very important.
So, I mean, at 80, I think I'm seeing a fulfilled man in those first.
Yes, I'm so happy, so fulfilled. Only on Wednesday, I turned 80 on Wednesday this week. And my children came from all over and made a wonderful celebration. And in fact, when I saw my children and grandchildren all around me, I was so delighted. So everybody is happy. And I'm very happy with what I have done, what I have achieved. And I know that at the end of the day, the factory will be there and it will live to the other generation.
So I think you're also National Director, Emeritus of the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship International.
Yeah.
So how much of faith or how much of spirituality is needed in business?
Well, I have been the member of the Board of Trustees of Daystar Christian Center for the past 30 years. We more or less started with Reverend Sam Adeyemi as at that time. Like I said before, I always recognize the Holy Spirit as my senior business partner, because God will make a way where there seems to be no way. I pray, and I go. I'm just coming from one event now where I was telling people how to prepare their businesses for 2026 in terms of their budget and planning. And many people will gain from it, but you also use the word in the Bible to support what you are saying, and it will convince people. I enjoy it. When I was leaving Lagos this morning, some people would say, hey, only 2-3 days ago you celebrated your birthday and you must be, why don't you go and rest? I said, doing God's work is as important as the one I just done. So it's the two together. I don't separate them, you know. And the church, I also do a lot that I can do to influence decisions of the church as a member of the board of trustees. Like I said, that's for the past 30 years. Yeah. And when we started, I think we were just about 30 or 35 people in a small, but today we are more than 4,000 members of the church. In fact, on Sundays we have 3 services. Apart from the head office in Ikeja, there's Ikorodu, there's Badagry, there is and about 6 different locations. So it's growing. And when you teach people to do business with integrity, you know, it pays, it helps also the nation, because all this corruption, you let them know that you have not been corrupt in your own way of doing business, and you are still successful, you know. All my workers, if any worker takes bribe or gives bribe, is sacked the following day. And yet God is keeping us going.
Okay, so you're saying it's possible for one to do a business with no form of corruption and make profits?
Yeah, at least I proved it. That it is possible that you can. Like I told you before, that I was led to my partner in Europe who organized for me a loan over there. I wouldn't have known that that would be possible, all right? And I had to pay interest, 5% instead of 20, 30% in Nigeria. I mean, there's a lot of difference. That has contributed to the success of our business. And here, they will ask you to pay back within 2 years or something. But over there, it gave me 5 years to pay.
So I mean, what advice do you give to that person that also wants to start something like this, but doesn't have foreign partners? And the local banks won't, of course, the loans can be so stifling.
And that is why he has to look at his business plan, you see, and then you have to carefully check what and what. You don't have to start big. You can start small and grow. I advise people work, like for example, I worked for 8 years in UAC and Aladewolu school before I started my business. All along I knew I was going to start business, so I was saving money, so they can. With the little I had, as at that time, I could make a little start before I expanded into, local manufacturing, where I then needed big money. But people will already see what you are doing, even with the little that you have, and you build confidence, that people can. It's not only bank, there may be some rich people around who have money, and they are looking for where to invest the money. But the most important thing is that, is this a man we can trust? If they can trust you, you're a man of integrity, they will invest the money in your business, and then they share. Maybe they will have 10% of your share or 20%. It's all over the place. Venture capitalists. Well, angel investors.
Yeah, of course, the angel investors. I've heard that a lot. Well, our time is fast spent. You are an octogenarian, and now, and you say you still work part-time. Is there ever be a time where you retire fully?
No, the brain has to keep working. That's why many people die young. They just sit back at home. They don't exercise themselves. I exercise myself every day. I do about 1 kilometer walking, and do all the exercise recommended by my physiotherapist. I eat the food recommended by my dietitian. I don't just eat everything. All right? And I use my brain because like for example, now I came to give more or less a lecture to these people in Abeokuta. It was taking me a couple of days to prepare the lecture, isn't it? And I have to make it relevant to their needs. And maybe tomorrow they call me to go and give another lecture somewhere. I have to prepare. All those ones are keeping me. And then, of course, I go to my office once in a while also to talk to the top management and the new director. The one leading the place now is my daughter. She's a chartered accountant. Been working in Europe for about 15 years. She joined me 8 years ago in Nigeria. She came back. By the time she agreed to work with me, I looked at the salary she was earning at that time. I could only afford 30% of it. And I said, are you ready to take this 30%? Because I cannot pay you more than that. It will affect my cash flow. And happily she agreed. And now she's even doing better than I was doing before.
Wow. So, congrats, Engineer Charles Aladewolu.
Yeah.
Okay, your closing remarks now, and I want to be in form of a message or advice to the younger generation in business, in entrepreneurship, basically. Those ones looking at the harsh economic climate or no loans here, how do we survive and all of that, but they have that burning passion.
My advice to the young people is that problems are meant to be solved. It is inside challenges and problems that you find opportunities. Look at the opportunities that the challenges are bringing forth. When I say problem now, either national or local, I will not concentrate on the problem. I'll be asking myself, what is the solution? And then what are the opportunities? After all, the whole world was in darkness before God said, let there be light. So there is also always light in every problem. That's what they should do. Number two is they must, first of all, check themselves. What is the thing that they love doing, even when there's no money, even when there's scarcity and problem, that they can still say, no, I will make it, Don't always think that there will be ready-made answer, And then look at people who have succeeded and make them your mentor. Learn from them. Look at people you can ask questions. I don't know how many people that I'm serving on the board of some of my mentees, they just called me one day in a quarter to attend their board meeting. I look at what they have been doing and I make my own suggestion. They thank me, they embark on what I advise them, things like that. So when you start a business and you have people around you who can give you advice where you are having challenges, I think you will succeed.
Okay, many thanks to you, Engineer Charles Aladewolu, a seasoned engineer, entrepreneur, and founder, chairman and CEO of Teco Group of companies. Yes, it's been quite insightful here, the advice, your experience. And I'm sure it has illuminated someone, it has enlightened someone, particularly those that want to go into business, that yes, it can be done. If you could do it for the past 45 years and you succeeded and you are still succeeding, why not? It can always be done. So thank you so much, Engineer Charles Aladewolu. I wish you clock 90, you clock 100, 110, 120, good health, and prosperity. So that's the show today. My guest has been Engineer Charles Aladewolu. Well, till next time when we are coming your way again with another personality, I say bye for now.